always a good box to get. We got us some GOOGAN baits. Some of the new ones too. So GOOGAN just came out with a couple new baits. That one's the pinner worm. So that one's kind of like a Nico drop shot hybrid worm right there. It's a good one. We also got it in some bright pink. We're heading up north to Lake Champlain here shortly. So that bright pink for the smallmouth, especially if they're on bed, that'll probably be a good one to have. And then this one I'm really excited about. This one is the Blazing Worm XL. So they have the normal size Blazing Worm, now they have the bigger size, which coming from Florida and being a grass fisherman, that one I'm definitely excited about. I tend to throw a bigger speed worm type bait more often than the smaller ones when I'm going to be throwing one through grass, because typically I'm looking for bigger fish. So excited about that one for sure, to finally have a bigger size in the Blazing Worm. And then did we have, I think that was it for baits. GOOGAN just came out with some jig heads as well, so got a couple of those. And then always hooking me up with some fresh clothing. These are some new summer shorts right here, so those are always nice to have. GOOGAN always comes out with some really cool patterns on their apparel, so I've got all kinds of shorts and shirt. Oh, here's another pair of shorts, this lizard on it. So I've got all kinds of shorts and apparel from GOOGAN. Oh, we got some Bama Bug Banditos. Those are gonna come in clutch on the Potomac. Oh, that's a good one. Thought he was bigger, but he'll probably help. So I'm leaving for the Potomac River and Champlain, so back-to-back tournaments, fishing a Toyota on the Potomac and then heading up to Champlain. So getting ready to start our northern tour here in a few days here. So doing some rigging, some organizing, got a bunch of boxes of stuff just to prepare for heading up north, because once you start getting into those smallmouth, it is a different style of fishing, so definitely requires some new gear. And we also have this handy package from Tricor, so let's open this guy up and see what kind of rods we got from Tricor. Alright, so we've got two 610, these are all spinning rods in the 6X series from Tricor. We've got two 610 medium light actions. So there's the 6X, and it's a 610 medium light. So these two right here, 610 medium lights. And then this one right here is a 7.6 medium. So I ordered the 7.6, that's a long spinning rod. I ordered this one for casting hair jigs for smallmouth. So the hair jigs are very light and you want to get a long cast with them. So it requires a pretty long rod to get a good nice cast on it. So ordered the 7.6 for that. And then the 610s are just really good overall smallmouth rods for any type of finesse technique, drop shotting, Ned rig, small tubes, really any type of finesse bait that you're gonna wanna throw for a smallmouth, like a 610 medium light, even up to like a 7-foot medium light, or even bigger. Sometimes I've thrown up to like a 7.4 medium light depending on the situation. But those are gonna be a good action, just kind of overall smallmouth. So that's the 6X series from Tricor. That's primarily, if you guys have been watching my YouTube in the past couple months or so, past 6 months, The 6X series from Tricor is primarily what I've been using. So that's their higher end rod. Tricor has a 3X and a 6X. The 3X is a great rod. That one's $199. The 6X is $299. But Tricor will only sell their rods directly on their website. They don't sell them in stores, on other retail sites, just directly through their website. And the reason they do that is because if you were to buy this rod on, let's just say they were on Tackle Warehouse, this rod would probably be in the $500 to $600 range if you were to go to Tackle Warehouse and order it, or go to Bass Pro and buy it in the store. But they didn't want to charge that much for the rods, so they're selling them directly on their website for $299. So I would recommend getting the 6X if you can do it, just because it is such a nice rod, and they have that full grip carbon fiber handle, which is really nice, and it balances the rod really nicely. These rods are so light and sensitive. It's crazy how light and sensitive they really are. I know a bunch of you guys have already bought them, and I've gotten messages and comments. Everybody's loving them. So if you've been looking at these Tricor rods, definitely give them a shot. And like I said, if you can do it, go for the 6X, because I mean, that's basically one of the best rods you can buy. It's like a $500 to $600 rod, but they're charging $299 through their website. So if you're looking for a really high quality rod, that's the one I would recommend. So, and if you guys ever have a question on them, or need to know what action I would recommend, feel free to leave a comment or message me on Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I try to get back to all the questions on that. So those are some of the Tricor rods we got. And now it's time to start organizing some tackle and packing stuff away. I'll be on the road for about 18 days, so we need to make sure everything is in tip-top condition. All right, we are taking a break from getting everything organized and packed up. I'm just about there with packing up the truck. The next step in the process is gonna be transferring some stuff into the boat, rigging up tackle, that kind of stuff. So wanted to start off by just getting the truck organized, kind of seeing what tackle I had. I ended up going through a bunch of tackle, and it just piles up, and so you don't really know what you have. So it was kind of good to just go through everything and really know what I had, if I need to get anything else last minute before heading out. But real quick, guys, I'm gonna take a look at the Deep Dive app. You guys have heard me talking about it. I've pretty much been using it for every tournament in just the preparation, and then also once I get out on the water. So as kind of like a pre-preparation for the tournament, I'll go on the Deep Dive app, I'll pull it up. So we'll go on it right now. I'll show you guys exactly how I do it, what I'm looking for. First tournament's on Potomac. The Deep Dive app does not have the Potomac, but it's the Potomac somewhere I'm very familiar with. It's somewhere where I wouldn't even want to use the Deep Dive app personally. So we're just gonna overlook Potomac and go straight to Champlain. That's where we're gonna go for our second stop of this trip. So we'll pull up Lake Champlain. All right, so I've got Champlain pulled up on the Deep Dive app. We can look at the lake level for Champlain. That's not really a huge deal. It's half a foot above full pool. As far as I know, Champlain stays pretty consistent as far as what the water level, so that's not really a big deal. It shows us wind effects. Right now, that's not something that I really need to pay much attention to. That's something that I'll look at once I get there, but a week or two out doesn't really matter too much. Water inflows, again, that's gonna be something that would be like practice and tournament be looking at. What I really wanna look at, the main things, is gonna be the bait suggestions. That way I kind of get an idea in my head on what types of things I need to rig up, what type of tackle I need to have prepared. So that's a good one. So we can put in some different things. So right now it's got smallmouth bass. We've got shallow. We'll do normal lake level here. So you always want to look at the conditions here just to make sure it's correct. I don't know what the water temperature will be there, but let's put spawn, because last year when I was on Champlain in June, it's kind of like I was there in July and it was the tail end of the spawn. So we'll be hitting it in June this time. So I would assume that we're gonna be right in the midst of those smallmouth spawning. Although it has been a little bit of a hotter winter and spring, I feel like the spawn is what we're going to be looking at. So winter and spawn for this. And so normal lake level spawn, wind protected, no vegetation, smallmouth bass, shallow. Okay. So, and clear water, Champlain's crystal clear, so definitely clear water on that one. Top bait Ned rig, I mean, you guys heard me talking about that, so that's definitely consistent. Top water, that's a good one too. Last year in July, I threw a top water a lot in shallow water, and they were crushing it. It was some really cool blow ups. I didn't catch the size that I needed to compete, but it was really fun catching 3, 4. I think I caught like a 5-pound smallmouth on top water too, so that was a lot of fun. And the smallmouth absolutely demolish a top water, so that's fun. Swing head, so I guess that'd be like with a little craw on it. Soft jerk bait, fluke style bait, hair jig, and a finesse jig. And let's see what it says for offshore. Ned rig, Carolina, swing, hair jig, finesse swim bait, and a football jig. All right, so all of that is pretty consistent with what I know from Lake Champlain, but again, it just kind of gives you a good idea of what type of tackle you want to take with you. All right, so that's pretty much what we're going to look at today on the Deep Dive app. So if you guys want to download it, it is free. There's a paid version that gives you access to a bunch of different things on it, and definitely well worth it. I've used it every tournament this season, and it's really been a big help to me. So I'll leave a link down below if you guys download it and give it a try. I mean, it really can only help you out on the water, and I use it actively during practice, sometimes even during the tournament, and then like this pre-tournament, kind of just going through it. So it's been a big help to me. If you guys want to download it, click the link down below. All right, talking about smallmouth, I had to pick up one of these guys. This packaging is not bassy, but it's a flogger. So if you guys haven't seen a flogger before, it's all torn apart right now, but basically it's a 3-piece deal. Basically, you stick it in the water, and it's like a glass, and when the smallmouth are spawning, once it's all put together, you kind of look through it like that, stick it in the water, and you just kind of stick your head into this top piece here. This goes on, yeah, so that's going to be the top piece. You have a little rubber piece on it, and then you would just stick your face in there and look through the flogger.
There he is.
And you'd be able to see smallmouth on beds. And smallmouth are typically pretty easy to catch when they get on the beds. So you just drop something bright down there that you can see really good with the flogger. See it down on the bottom, so something like a pink or a yellow. So I've got like some pink and yellow Ned rigs, the little GOOGAN rattling Neds. Those will probably work really good because they got the little rattle in them. I'll have to dig them out at some point. I'll show you guys a good smallmouth rig for bedding fish. And I did it a little bit last year. So I fished a Toyota, I think it was in June last year on Champlain. It was right after an invitational event, so I had like one afternoon of practice, and the smallmouth were bedding, but I didn't have enough time to kind of like go around and look for them, so I didn't fish spawning smallmouth, but that's what a lot of guys did and did really well. But I stayed a couple days afterwards with my buddies Flint and Bobby, who were traveling with me last year for invitationals, and we got on some spawning smallmouth, and we were able to use a flogger. So I think Bobby and Flint both borrowed a flogger for that tournament. I had never used one, I didn't own one, so we just ordered this one, and now I've got a little bit of experience doing it. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's probably how the tournament's gonna get won. All right, we're getting there slowly with this organization. I've just got stuff that's just piled up throughout the course of the season, and even some stuff from last season that was kind of just piled up in the truck that I just never got to. So trying to do a little bit of organization, since I am going to be on the road for quite a bit here, and I want to have everything organized, and we're going from largemouth to smallmouth, so I need a lot of stuff basically. But I just dug out some of these Ned rigs the rattling Ned rig baits. So this is what I'm thinking for the smallmouth. Something really bright pink like that on a Ned rig head, just so you can see it really good down there with the flogger, or even if you're just like sight fishing without the flogger, something really bright like that, or maybe something like a chartreuse here. This one will probably show up pretty bright. So just dropping that on a Ned rig, I think will probably be the ticket to catching some of these spawning smallmouth. And then I was going through some of my tackle. I've got some of these guys. Caught a lot of fish last year on Champlain. These will catch roaming fish that are getting ready to spawn, and then also fish on the beds too will come up and grab these. So that'll definitely be tied on. That's what I got that 7.6 medium Tricor for, was to throw one of those. They're really light. Let's see, this one's 1/16, and so you put like a little bit of a bait on it to kind of weigh it down, but they're still really light, and ideally you want to cast them a long way to cover water. So that 7.6 rod is really what you need for one of those. Also guys, these Bass Mafia bags, this is one of the GOOGAN squad ones, but the money bags, this is the big guy right here. You can fit a lot of stuff in it. This has made organization for me a lot simpler. So I just kind of organized baits by type, or like in this case, I'm calling this my smallmouth bag. So I've got a bunch of like just basically anything that I would use for smallmouth on Champlain. I just threw into this bag, and then I just throw this in the boat and I got everything I need. So these made organizing pretty easy for me.